Other question? Any question, please? Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. This question is a bit belated one, you see, because Hajj has already finished now. I should have asked
maybe
this.
For the next year it will
In fact, that's why I think maybe I will be going back. That will be very good for me. Now, I want Hazur's clarification. I know I have read it, but not from Hazur's mouth, you see, this one I want. That how the women, is going to Hajj if she is not accompanied by her husband or by her father or some other muhram. Can she go with her own friend's husband or some other people, you see, which I think she should not go because all others are their muhram. I want your clarification.
You better write about it to to Secretary Majlis Iftar Rabwa. He will make research into the question. This is a question of jurisprudence. Once the ihram begins, then there is no problem in fact, because even parda is not necessary during those times. They have very special air of sacredness, and it's a totally different atmosphere, or should be at least. So that is all right. During that period, everybody is in a different mood altogether. But from some other country to that place, that is the distance which you should keep in mind. Now, you should also keep in mind that according to the changed times and the difference in the communication system and everything, ladies are permitted to travel alone, while not even a sister or a friend is with them. So when, for instance, ladies travel alone long distances, 12,000 miles or so by air, and no harm is considered about that, why should the objection be raised only when they are traveling towards Hajj? That is the main thing to be decided. So either you should stop ladies from traveling alone in ordinary life. So why poor Hajj should be singled out for this purpose? So this is my general answer, but let them make a research and give you a definite answer. Please.
Zul, I have a question, and it is that when one dies and the soul leaves the body, does it actually get to a point where it meets Allah, or is it kept waiting until the Day of Judgment?
You know, meeting Allah is something which is generally erroneously visualized by us, because there is so much difference between the nature of God and the nature of everything else. Laysa kamithlihi shay'un. There is nothing like Him. The Creator and the creation belong as if to do different worlds. So when you talk of meeting, you always consider meeting in the normal human values.
But in that case, where does the...
I'm coming to that. Now, meeting Allah, even in this world, is witnessed differently by various people at various stages of spiritual development. For some, meeting Allah is just maybe by dreams. They are shown some dream, and that dream comes true, or some important moments appear in one's life where they are deeply moved by love of Allah and so on. So this is the ordinary experience. But meeting Allah is different with, for instance, in case of prophets who begin to live with Allah all along, and they remain in His presence. So they have already met Him. Yet they do not see Him like you see other things, They do not touch him like you touch other things. Allah is not a palpable quantity. So the difference between this meeting and that meeting is immense, isn't it?
It is inconceivable.
If you proceed in the same direction and gain further consciousness, and the people of the low stages are lifted to a higher stage and begin to live constantly in the presence of Allah after their death, and the prophets are promoted to still higher stage, comparatively that would be a meeting, won't it? As compared to the earlier stage, many more steps will have been taken in the direction of closeness to Allah. That is a consciousness which is made much clearer than before. For instance, sometimes you see very clear dreams, so clear that you feel that it is the daytime, and sometimes from dream you wake up in dream, and then you find that, oh, now it is day, previously it was dream.
Yes, but
And when you wake up again, then you see the difference.
in that case, there's two types.
Get up and then tell this.
There are two
Why are
types.
you getting up like old people
I can't help
with
it.
knee troubles? Huh?
Lack of exercise.
Take exercise?
Yes.
So you better come and have exercise here, possibly.
Inshallah, any moment now.
Yes, please.
There's two types of dreams. One which comes from the shaitan, one which comes from Allah.
Both have the same quality of dreaminess about them.
Yes, but the shaitan, he promises people with dreams of a better way of life.
Now what I mean to say is, I'm talking of a different thing altogether.
Yes, I understand your point. I'm just
Here I agree that the dreams shown by Allah have a very special quality about them. There is no gainsaying that. But still, as far as the dreams go, they are dreams. And the dreams of Satan can be of very disturbing nature and very murky quality, dark and full of, confusion and things. Yet they are dreams. So waking up from a dream is a phenomenon common to both. When you wake up from a godly dream, still you realize suddenly that that was dream and now it is not dream. And suppose you are given a higher consciousness suddenly by Allah, and you wake up to realize that was a dream, your life on earth. And now you have come to believe, to see things. That can happen or can't it? The different steps in consciousness are so obviously observed by us in the stages known to us as previous to mankind. Every animal stands at a different consciousness. If suddenly an animal is promoted in consciousness to the higher stage, he would think that the previous consciousness was just a dream. Like some people who wake up to the realities of life, like Neil Dodd did once, they begin to see things in the same measures. Once he said, "Why nadani ke waqte marg ye sabit hua, ख्वाब था जो कुछ के देखा, जो सुना अफसाना था." That, oh, woe to us, that only at the time of death we came to realize that it was only a dream that we had seen, not a real life that we had passed. It was just a tale we have gone through. So that is what he means by various levels of consciousness, but what I mean by various levels of consciousness. In his terminology, a Sufi who begins to travel towards Allah, at the end suddenly realizes that all his past life has been a dream. So when you talk of meeting Allah after death, everyone would meet him differently, because everyone would be at a different stage of consciousness. Meeting Allah as applied to the prophets is a completely different phenomenon of intensity. And meeting Allah by an ordinary person is a completely different phenomenon.